We begin our presentation with the tail of the tape. Marvin Hagler, 3 years younger than Duran, an inch and a half taller, almost the same weight. Hagler coming in this morning at 157.5. Duran was 156.5. But Marvelous Marv enjoying an 8-inch reach advantage.
And much has been made of that advantage, especially if Hagler decides to box Duran, which he certainly has the skills to do.
They are still trying to clear the ring. Chuck Hull is in the center of it, and we are ready for the official introduction. And tension is high here in Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the officials assigned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for this main event of the evening. The judges are Obi Obason, Guy Justress, and Yoshika Yoshida. The timekeeper is Eddie O'Toole. Counting at the knockdowns, Charlie Roth. The attending physicians at ringside, Doctors Donald Romeo and Flip Pomansky, and the referee is Stanley Christodoulou. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Introducing, in the blue corner, the challenger, the current WBA junior middleweight champion of the world, fighting out of Panama City, Panama, weighing in at 156.5 pounds, with a professional record of 76 wins, 4 defeats, with 57 knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, a 3-time world champion, in quest of his 4th crown, introducing the man with the hands of stone, Roberto Duran. And in the red corner, fighting out of Brockton, Massachusetts, weighing in at 157.5 pounds. He has a professional record of 57 wins, 2 defeats, and 2 draws, with 48 knockouts. He is the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, introducing Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
We are just a few moments away from the opening bell. Both fighters, of course, looking fierce. They're poised and they're ready. The referee, Stanley Christodoulou. A bit of a controversy with him back when Aaron Pryor knocked out Alexis Arguello in November of last year. Some felt that Christodoulou let the fight go a little too long, and that's why they anticipate tonight that he will sort of let these two really go at each other.
And indeed, he wasn't even scheduled to be the referee tonight. Guy Justress, one of the judges from Canada, originally scheduled to referee, and after quite a few goings-on here in Las Vegas, eventually that man, Christodoulou, was named the referee. Remains to be seen whether Justress has any hard feelings over that. It was the Petronellis, you're looking at one of them right there along with Hagler, who urged them not to have Justress as the referee.
You see Hagler with 7 successful defenses of his title. He's going after the record of Carlos Monzon, who had 14. That's quite an accomplishment. Monzon is the idol of Marvin Hagler. Gives him his due. Monzon, in attendance here, by the way, has picked Duran to win. They'll be fighting here under the auspices of the Nevada Athletic Commission. They'll use the 10-point must system. Hagler with the best career winning percentage of the middleweights with 95%, right behind him Carlos Monzon. They'll use the 10-point must system. The referee will not be involved in the judgment. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. And there are a few who believe this fight will go the distance. course, there is a big question mark here, as these men, Hagler and Duran, have never met before. Duran moving up from the lighter weights, fighting for the first time as a middleweight. We just don't know if there is a question here of strength. Could it be that Hagler is too big for Duran? However, could it be that Duran really has the power to wage an even battle with the man who seems to be invincible?
There's a split opinion on whether that man Duran must be inside or outside against Hagler. The conventional thinking used to be that he had to get inside, work the body, and work the head, but no less than two champions, Alexis Arguello and Sugar Ray Leonard, told us that they don't believe Duran is strong enough on the inside. If he's to win this fight, he must do it from the outside and show his excellent defensive skills against Hagler.
We have a delay here as Stanley Christodoulou, the referee, looks on in the corner of Duran. They're still gloving Duran. Let it be perfectly clear, though, despite the fact that marvelous Marvin Hagler has won 32 in a row with 7 successful title defenses, tonight he's facing a man whose extraordinary skills have carried him to the prospect of winning a 4th title. So this is a great moment for Marvin Hagler as well. And Stanley Christodoulou now brings the two champions to the center of the ring.
All right, both of the rules, shake hands, good luck to you both. Okay. All right, let's go.
And so we're ready to go, live from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. At stake, the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. The principles are familiar. Marvin Hagler in the burgundy trunks, the southpaw, against Roberto Duran in the dark blue. These first moments, so important. Both fighters wanting to test the strength of the other.
Hagler, of course, familiar to most people, that left-handed style. Remember, he will switch to righty at various times throughout this fight if he thinks it'll be effective against Duran. There's the jab from Hagler, and that's a punch that he will need tonight if he's to win against Duran.
Duran working the body of Hagler, and he gets a warning from the referee to watch it or a low. Hagler told me that if he finds out early that he seems to be stronger than Duran, he'll go right at him, take him out of there immediately.
And indeed, Duran trying to go to the body early, that is a tactic many people believed he would do.
Duran has lost 4 times. In all 4 defeats, his opponents have stayed outside his range of power. Here in the early moments, Hagler has done that. We don't expect that for the rest of the evening.
Obviously, both fighters, it's a chess match now. They want to feel each other out and see just what the other has to offer. And for Hagler, so far, he's found out one thing. He can land his jab a little bit against Duran, and that will be important to him if he can continue to do it.
We're halfway through the opening round. A bit of a right hand by Duran on the chin of Hagler was a glancing blow. Hagler has never been down as an amateur or professional. The last time Duran was down was 9 years ago. He was down twice in his career as a pro, both left hooks by Esteban de Jesus, oddly in the first rounds of those bouts, with Duran coming back and winning.
For those people who claim that Hagler would be awed by this event, this is the time when it would affect him. He would be tight in the first round and perhaps be hurt, as Duran hurt Leonard early in their fight.
That right hand of Duran was picked off by Hagler, but not that one. Duran gets in a right hand. Duran's best punch is the right hand, tries to throw the lead right. Watching Hagler in his workouts, he and Pat Petronelli worked on slipping that right hand and countering with both the left and the right. Hagler won't show his uppercut early in the fight. He wants to get Duran with that later on when they're at close quarter. Less than 30 seconds to go in a getting-to-know-you opening round.
You saw Duran slip the jab in the right and the left hand by Hagler. That's what he intends to do, he hopes, all night.
Hagler had his left blocked by Duran as he moved backward. Duran, an underrated defensive fighter. He was awesome in that regard against Davey Moore, continually slipping Moore's right hand. A quiet opening round. Let's go to the corner of Marvin Hagler. The Petronellis are there. Pat and Duran. What is doing? It'll do. All right. Get some money. You got it. All right. That's a feeling all right. See what he's doing. All right.
jabbing, he's getting on your left hand. As soon as your jab hits, he's trying to throw that straight right hand, okay? So when you throw that jab, when he bends over, come up with that uppercut. Like you've been doing. He'll lean over that side every time. Yeah. Otherwise, box like you've been boxing. Catch him coming in and stay with your speed. He'll come at you.
Sí mismo va bien. A la posición que te toca, vale. Apúrate. El mismo bien, entonces insistiendo con tu jab. Insistiendo con tu jab, pues.
You heard Goody Petronelli in the Hagler's corner telling him that obviously Duran's trying to load up with the right. That's not a scoop. Everybody knows it. Round 2 scheduled for 15.
And Hagler said something very interesting. He said, yeah, I know. He's trying to get that thumb in there. Of course, Duran gave a thumb to Davey Moore early in their fight, whether intentional or not. It blinded Moore's vision and helped him win that fight, and the Hagler camp very concerned about that tonight.
A slow boil here. We haven't had any eruptions as yet. Duran with a short left hand. Hagler with a left hand of his own to the side of Duran's face. Hagler there showing the stiff jab and then the left cross to the head of Duran.
I think the key question right now in everyone's mind is, can Duran hurt Hagler? We haven't seen any evidence yet. He hasn't hit him with anything, and that's what Hagler's really waiting for. He wants to see.
The second warning from the referee, Stanley Cristodulo to Duran about a low blow. And we're in the second round.
Early on, Duran is getting under the jab and the straight left of Hagler, and so it'll be incumbent upon Hagler as he blocks that right to use the uppercut effectively on the inside, as he's doing right there.
Hagler working with the free left hand there as Duran was holding on. Duran with a short right.
So far in this fight, it's Hagler who's working harder on the inside. Many people thought it would be Duran who would be ripping shots to the body and the head.
Just past the halfway mark of round 2. Hagler with a left hand to the head of Duran. That straightened him up. That right hand of Duran was blocked by Hagler. And we're starting to get the first indications of strength here. As it looks like Hagler's having no problem moving Duran. Hagler comes from downstairs with an uppercut. Less than a minute to go. Hagler with the left hand on the head of Duran, and Duran gives him a sneer. The familiar sneer of Duran is back. And now we're starting to percolate as the champion, Hagler, is starting to unwind. Duran with the right hand on the head of Hagler.
Duran just waiting to drop the right hand in. He feels that's his ticket to win this fight. So far, most have been blocked by Hagler, but one or two have gotten in. That one was blocked.
The crowd erupts every time Duran throws something, and in the last few seconds he had a right hand block that he missed with a right, but yet there were cheers from the crowd. Hagler seems intent on getting off first. That right hand by Duran was short on the chest of Hagler.
When Hagler is fighting as a lefty, his punches are a little wider. Some people think that may be a problem for him, and Duran may be able to get inside the wide left hand.
Here's the corner. Roberto Duran will try and get a translation.
Sí mismo, compa, no te precipites, ¿viste? Antes de apurarte el pie. No lo apures, el pie de atrás tiene que mantenerte ahí para cuando él ataca, que a él le gusta atacar. Sí, tú tienes con qué ahí mismo joder. Okay.
Ahí viene la mano.
Ahí
viene. In Hagler's corner now. Too late to pick up any conversation, but Al, it seems that Hagler is being very effective with his jab, but Duran has not been able to solve that.
Well, as we head into round 3, he's landing the jab, but I don't think quite as often as he wants to, Sal. But will Duran be able to avoid it as we go on in this fight?
That right hand by Duran picked off by Hagler again. And through 2 rounds, Hagler staying outside of Duran's power.
Step back.
We thought we might see a little more lateral movement from Hagler to confuse Duran. That was something Moore and Cuevas did not do in their fights, but he really has been going right at Duran.
Duran short again. Left to the stomach by Duran as Hagler missed and was out of position. So the legend still has the cute moves, knows when to take advantage.
And as we said at the top, if there's a way that Duran would win this fight, I think it would be that way. He just slipped a straight left by Hagler. It's his defensive skills that I think will make this fight for him. Now on the inside, Hagler doing most of the punching.
Duran insists that he's in tip-top shape. He trained for most of the summer. Hagler did the same. Hagler just brought a right uppercut onto the face of Duran. We're halfway through round number 3.
And this fight has certainly turned into a chess match. If people thought it would be a brawl, so far it is not that. And maybe it was never meant to be because we have 2 master boxers in there.
Hagler showing tremendous respect for Duran, staying outside of his power. He just switched to the orthodox style and banged Duran with a lead right hand. Hagler stays in the orthodox stance and switches left. Less than a minute to go in round 3. Duran with a left to the head. Hagler with a right to the head of Duran. Duran with a short right hand in the face of Hagler. Another right hand by Duran to the head of Hagler. Big left hand that rocked Duran. Duran with a right uppercut. And now Duran has gotten Hagler into a major exchange here in round 3. And this is where Roberto wants him at close range, especially on the ropes. You'll notice that Hagler just spun away from the ropes. He doesn't want to be there.
And now Duran coming forward. Apparently he feels after that exchange that he can fight inside with Hagler. And they were both throwing flurries in that round.
Duran moments ago ducked underneath an express train of a left hand by Hagler. Hagler caught nothing but air.
Listen up, Lou. You're a little bit tight out there. Don't try and knock him out every punch. That's not the name of the game. He's setting back on you, see?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Try not to fall in the trap.
Don't fall in the trap.
Relax.
A little bit tight. Try to knock him over every punch. Don't do that. It's not necessary.
No, he's trying to get it off.
No, go with the speed.
Some action from round number 3.
And on the inside, people wondered, would Hagler just hold on as he did against Antifermo, or would he throw punches? This indicates he is throwing punches, but certainly Roberto scored well on the inside.
Goody Petronelli told Marvin in the corner just moments ago, don't try and knock him out. It's not the name of the game. He sensed that Duran had lured Hagler into close-range exchanges in that 3rd round. Wants Marvin on the outside, boxing Duran, making Duran work, making Duran lunge. Round 4. Duran has closed the distance to Hagler. They're closer than ever before.
And they are both smiling at each other at alternate times during these rounds. There's the jab and the left hand by Hagler. That's what he wants to get in, but Duran has done a fairly good job of slipping that jab. Now here's the dancing and the lateral movement by Hagler. Perhaps we'll see more of it as the fight progresses.
There's no question that Hagler respects the strength of Duran at this point. And Duran with his 3rd warning about a low blow. Of course, many feel it's the advantage of Hagler to make Duran work and make this fight go a long distance.
And now Hagler's starting to throw some feints at Duran and trying to show him a little movement. And so far, Duran, while Hagler hasn't landed much, Duran's going for all those feints.
Right hand by Duran. Hagler with a left to the body. That backed up Duran for an instant. A big swat of a left hand by Hagler, the kind of jab that decked Caveman Lee in the first round.
And indeed, now Hagler is starting to get his jab on track, and I guess that's the most important weapon for him in this fight. If he can land it, he'll be very effective.
We're halfway through the fourth. Duran with the right hand, and Hagler didn't even move. A right hand by Duran, right on the butt. That caught Hagler on the chin. Less than a minute to go in round 4.
Duran has shown us one thing: the right hand can get home to Hagler. Hasn't done that much in this fight, but he has landed it several times. That's good news for him and his fans.
A right to the body by Duran, but he paid the price. Hagler countered with a left hook to the head.
Hagler starting to throw some combinations. That's been absent so far from both fighters in the first 3.5 rounds.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the round. No question, Hagler reverted back to the boxing style here in round 4 after getting into a couple of toe-to-toe exchanges with Duran in round 3.
And I think by and large he was more effective because of it.
And here comes the chant of Duran's name. As we look into both corners, you see the distances, the number of rounds these two men have been involved in. Marvin Hagler in his 7 defenses went as far as the 11th, but he made short work of his other opponents. He was taken to the 11th round by Mustafa Hamsho, but he won every round.
That was a devastating display by Hagler in that fight. As the fight goes on, people will wonder which fighter will have the stamina, but I think both certainly can go the distance.
At the very least here, Al, through 4 rounds, I think Roberto Duran now knows that he's not facing an indomitable force here, that he's still very much in this fight. He's not going to be steamrolled by Marvin Hagler.
No, that's clearly the case, and what he also knows is that occasionally he can get that right hand in, and if he can hurt Hagler with it, could do himself some good in this fight.
Round 5, scheduled for 15. Hagler with a bit of a left hand, Duran with a right hand in response. Not too much impact there.
I mentioned at the outset that Hagler likes to switch to the righty style. So far he has not done that in this fight, apparently feeling that he can be more effective as a southpaw against Duran. And there he does it. As soon as I said he hadn't done it, he switches to the righty stance.
Left hook to the head from the righty stance by Marvin Hagler.
Well, in the brief time he's changed righty, he's fought well against Duran.
In the workouts every day, Hagler fought several rounds right-handed to be sharp, to be able to show Duran that he can go both ways. And Hagler with a right hook from the lefty stance rattled Roberto Duran.
And he landed a good uppercut just before that. So he's starting to get the hand speed unlimbered, and Hagler looks a little looser here in round 5. And after round 3, you'll note Goody Petronelli said you look tight out there.
Duran switched again to the orthodox style, tried a left hook, but he missed. We're halfway through round 5. That right hand by Duran was blocked by Hagler. We point that out because you should not be misled by the cheers of the crowd.
Good
Hagler with a right hand, Duran with a right hand. Hagler comes back with a straight left to the head. Duran with a whack of a right hand on the side of Hagler's head. Less than a minute to go in the round. Duran gets away with a low blow out of the view of the referee.
Neither fighter has done much body work in the last several rounds. That's something they're both noted for. and neither fighter working that effectively on the inside.
They trade body shots. Less than 30 seconds to go in the round. Double jab there by Hagler. He's tied up by Duran, and he drifts toward the ropes. Christodoulou letting them battle their way out of that clinch.
Duran is finding Hagler a relatively elusive target also, not like Davey Moore or Pepino Cuevas when he fashioned those two big comeback wins. Hagler a much better defensive fighter than those two men.
Right hand by Duran, and that was right on the chin of Hagler, but he's not hurt. And there's the bell marking the end of the 5th round as Duran puts an exclamation point on the round with a straight right hand.
Give me that iron thing. Trying to get my left one.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, man. He's still a little tight in there now.
Yeah,
He's waiting to throw that right hand at you. So he's counting for you. He's waiting to come in. Look at the speed.
I'm trying to get it out, man.
Some action from the previous round, the 5th. That was early in the round. They're applying that metal piece called end swell on the left cheekbone of Hagler. Apparently, there's some apprehension there about some swelling. That's always a telltale sign. But we are right in the underneath Hagler, and it doesn't seem to be a pronounced problem.
You'll get him out.
But at any rate, they're putting on that metal piece.
Just go ahead and do it.
Patience, man.
They used that on Sugar Ray Leonard when he fought Thomas Hearns and kept him in the fight until Ray took out Hearns in the 14th round.
In the last round,
This is
Hagler.
round 6.
In the last round, Hagler switched to righty, and I thought Sal was very effective, but he's not gone back to that style yet. When he switched to righty, he landed a very good straight right hand. This is a tactical fight, and the experts were divided on who they thought would win if it became this kind of fight. Many people felt Duran could not fight him from the outside, but Roberto's not doing that badly from the outside against Hagler.
A left hand by Hagler. Duran shakes his head, no, I'm not hurt. The couple of jabs there by Hagler had put Duran off balance and wide open for the shot. Duran with a right hand after he was hit by a right by Hagler. So we're getting some toe-to-toe stuff here.
I think when Hagler switches to righty, he is much more effective against Duran, and there he does it now. He can land often in the righty stance. There's the good jab by Hagler. A good right by Hagler. This is the way he needs to be in this fight.
A hard jab by Hagler from the orthodox stance. Hagler with a left hook to the head. Hagler switches to lefty, goes to righty, and they're in the center of the ring now. Duran not been able to make full connections as much as Hagler.
And I think we're seeing the key to this fight. If Marvin Hagler could sustain his attack as a righty, I think he'd be very effective. Good uppercut by Hagler.
We're halfway through the 6th round. Duran with a right and left. Hagler here applying some pressure. He's gone into another gear.
And it's Hagler on the inside, not Duran, who's dominating the action as many people thought.
Hagler now digging in now, throwing shots, and he is catching Duran. Duran's still coming forward. Big right hand by Hagler from the righty stance. That was his best punch. Less than a minute to go now, and Duran is starting to feel some of that power from Hagler.
And again, Marvin goes back to lefty. I don't know why he's so effective as a right-hander against Duran.
There's no question in this round, Hagler made up his mind to start to drill Duran, and he has approached Duran from a different philosophy, and that is he has turned into slugger here. He was boxing Duran earlier in the fight. Duran is flat-footed, breathing hard, less than 30 seconds to go in the 6th, and Hagler is digging in and throwing shots from his heels.
And the strength of Hagler taking over here now, the first real middleweight that Duran has faced, and he's finding out how powerful Hagler is.
Hagler with the left hand, another left hand. In between, Duran missed with an uppercut. A strong 6th round for Marvin Hagler.
Respirando profundo. Respira duro. Yo lo aguanto el tono. Respira duro. Y
punching by marvelous Marvin Hagler. Roberto Duran is got a clear-eyed look, and he's unmarked. But he took some shots in that 6th.
And as we look in here, we will see Hagler dig in from the right-handed stance. As I mentioned, he went to that in this round, and it was very effective.
Al, Hagler there connecting with the right. Duran trying to slip it as he did against Davey Moore, but he couldn't get out of the way. And that may, if coming events cast their shadows, that may be it. Duran not being able to slip that right hand. We'll see.
You can see Hagler anxious for this next round.
Hagler comes out righty.
Sal, I wonder if he deliberately fought the first few rounds lefty to lull Duran into a false sense of security, knowing that he could win with the right-handed stance.
Although he's switched now again back to the southpaw stance. Hagler giving Roberto a different look. He switches again.
Duran's left jab landing even better as a righty than his right jab was landing when he was southpaw.
Right hand lead by Hagler from the orthodox stance. No question, Hagler not only has got into a different gear, he has stepped up the pace. And he just poked his glove at Duran as if to say, you're trying to stun me. Duran giving him his now famous sneer. And Duran that time slipped the right hand.
A strange show of bravado by Duran after his worst round in the fight in round 6. Maybe he knows something.
Hagler with a left hook to the head. Both fighters smiling at each other. Lots of gamesmanship here as the crowd is chanting Duran's name. We're halfway through the 7th.
One of the misnomers about this fight was that Duran would not fight inside, that he would simply hold. He has been the one who's been dominant when they are inside. Good lead right by Hagler.
And you can hear that across the ring. Hagler pushing Duran to a fast pace here. He wants Duran to work hard. Hagler out-punching Duran here in the 7th as he did in the 6th. And Duran seems undismayed. He mocks Hagler, smiles at him. Hagler's expression is unchanged since he entered the ring. It's a menacing look.
Against Vito Antuofermo in their first fight, Hagler dominated all the early rounds, as he may be doing here against Duran. Ran out of gas, got frustrated when Antuofermo wouldn't go down. Will that happen in this fight if Duran can take it the full 15?
Less than 30 seconds to go in the 7th.
And there, look on the inside. It's Hagler really throwing the shots, not Duran.
It is Hagler who's got Duran against the ropes. Duran wanted this, but he wanted the other way. He wanted to press the attack against Hagler. Has not been able to do that. They're at close range, and Hagler rumbling pretty well. A right hand by Duran at the bell, and they stare at each other.
Good round.
Nice round.
Marvin, when you took the right hand, you're doing good. You turn it off.
Yeah, come back again.
Now he's leaning over. You throw that straight left hand, he's leaning under. He's leaning under a half uppercut and a half hook. Understand? That's when you catch him.
He's ducking under.
Right?
You're looking good.
He's contending boxing. Yeah, he's getting. That was a good round, big round, but don't go going to cool.
Make your speed back.
Duran knows that Hagler had extremely effective rounds in the 6th and 7th. He wasn't hurt. He may have been stunned. He wasn't hurt. He remains unmarked. Very much in this fight. Hagler has given him his best, but Hagler has not been able to be domineering. We're ready for round 8. Neither man has been cut or down.
Even though Marvin Hagler hasn't boxed all through this fight, he has used his pretty good foot speed and his good ring generalship to get away from Duran when there was danger. And that's something, as I said, Davey Moore and Pepino Cuevas just didn't have the tools to do against Duran. Sal, I think now Hagler would like for Duran to lunge in with the right hand. Certainly Duran must sense he's falling behind. Hagler would like to catch him with counter shots as Duran lunges in with the right.
We are approaching the halfway mark of the fight. Al, I want your impressions about how one man has been able to prevail his will over the other, or has that occurred?
Well, I think Hagler has done so more out of technical abilities than anything else. He is simply a better boxer than Duran has faced in recent times.
And Duran has not seen this kind of pressure since he fought Ray Leonard.
You see the right hand blocked by Hagler. Hagler has fought a pretty good defensive fight. Duran himself has avoided being hit really flush by Hagler, and now Hagler turns to righty, and watch how effective he is when he turns to this stance.
He made a pivot move and brought that left hook to the head. He just did it twice. Hagler's corner knows that Marvin is especially effective in the orthodox stance, and they welcome him switching to the righty style.
And Marvin wants to fight on the inside with Duran. Unlike what people thought, he's ripping shots to the body and the head.
Less than a minute to go in round 8. After a spirited 6th and 7th rounds, it's quiet here in the 8th.
And if there's an edge in body work, it certainly would go to Hagler, and that is a factor as we go on in this fight. Will that take something out of Duran? Hagler blocks those punches.
They're starting to bang their heads here in round 8. There's always the problem of the butt.
And of course, Hagler himself has occasionally been guilty, as he was in his second fight with Anafermo, of using his head as a weapon.
The first half of this round was quiet. It's been stepped up because of Hagler's ability to punch and bunch it. Hard jab there by Hagler. Yet another one. A countering right hand by Duran, and a little extracurricular activity that Hagler did not like.
I think the last thing Roberto Duran needs now is to make Marvin Hagler more motivated than he is already. Hagler has gotten loose here in the last couple of rounds after being tight early and has done well.
Let Greg take that. Come on. Okay, Marvin, listen, use your jab more often, all right? Try not to get too much of a slugging power. Even though you're beating him inside, try not to get too much slugging power there. Use that jab, double up with the jab. He'll come at you. I like it right-handed, Marv.
Yeah,
doing real good. Stay right-handed once in a while. Don't confuse hell out because all your punches are coming together. When you throw that straight left hand, he gets under it. It's got to be 200 and a half.
Some action from the previous round as Hagler scored well with the jab. Customato, the venerable trainer, says that Roberto Duran is the smartest fighter in the ring today. And I think that even Marvin Hagler has to agree that after 8 rounds against Duran, he hasn't actually gone through him like a hot knife through butter. He has to give him the acknowledgement that he's a pretty good boxer. Duran comes out flat-footed for round number 9. A wide stance. It looks like Duran here wants to really rumble. He wants to get Hagler at close quarters.
And Hagler again as a righty. You heard Goody Petronelli say, I like you as a righty. Change up and use that often.
Hagler looks like he's ready to accommodate Mr. Duran if he wants to go toe-to-toe here at close quarters. Duran has closed the distance between himself and Hagler.
We've talked about Duran's defense, and it's excellent, but Marvin Hagler in this fight has shown that he also is a good defensive fighter, picking off punches and slipping others. Although occasionally Duran does get in with that straight right hand. The jab of Duran has been almost non-existent in this fight.
Another right hand blocked by Hagler. Hagler with a 3-punch combination on the head of Duran.
Hagler slipping the jabs and pounding the body of Roberto Duran.
Then he came upstairs with some uppercuts. And that brought an ooh and an ah from the crowd. Right hook by Hagler.
This fight is very reminiscent of the fight that Hagler fought here in Las Vegas against Vito Antuofermo when he tried to lift the title. He beat Antuofermo as he's beating Duran right now, but around this time in the fight is when it shifted and Vito started putting pressure on. Let's see if history repeats itself. Duran has certainly not come close to going down in this fight.
Hagler said he learned a great lesson from that controversial draw. He knew he ran out of gas down the final 5 rounds. He said he learned how to train for 15 rounds. He vowed it would never happen again.
And so far, no indication that Hagler is slowing the tempo. Good counter hook by Duran. It has no impact on Hagler.
Hagler threw a lead left hand, and Duran came with that countering hook. Less than a minute to go in the round.
Hagler continues also to work the body very effectively.
Hammering right hand by Duran on the head of Hagler. Duran with that sinister look. Both fighters looking at each other over. Duran with a right hand to the head of Hagler. Final seconds, round 9.
This fight has ebbed and flowed on a number of different occasions. Right now, again, it's a chess match as they look for an opening. Good jab, double jab by Hagler, and he's gotten that punch on track since the second round.
Early in the round, the Hagler with an eruption, a 3-punch combination, then later some body work. That was the major noise in an otherwise unspectacular 9th round.
Duran, I thought in the last round or two, started to get a little fatigued. Let's see if that continues to be a problem for him.
A racehorse pace. And it's been dictated by Marvin Hagler. He wants, if this fight goes into the championship rounds, past the 10th, Hagler wants Duran at a breakneck speed.
And there's the body work of Hagler, something that many people thought would be Duran's ticket to victory. Instead, it's been Hagler really beating that man, Duran, around the body.
In Duran's corner, they're applying the ice pack to his abdomen. And sometimes that's a telltale sign. Duran breathing heavily, and I'll tell you this about Hagler. He's in cruise control.
How you do it now? Don't think about it.
There's the bell for round 10.
And again, Hagler starts in the right-handed stance. He has switched up often in this fight. I think it has confused Duran, and as a righty, I still maintain Hagler has done his best work. Look at on the inside. This is where Duran was supposed to win, but instead it's Hagler. And there was an elbow from Hagler to show you that he is not above questionable tactics.
The 4th admonishment to Duran by the referee for a low blow.
And for all the hassles over the referee, Stanley Christodoulou has played a minor role in this fight.
They're on the inside here in round 10. Imagine walking down that lonely, dark street, fighting on the inside against either of these men.
Both men are masters on the inside, and at this point anyway, it looks like the idea that Hagler is a true middleweight and Duran has come up too many weight divisions would appear to be the case on the inside. Hagler appears strong there.
They just banged heads. Hagler pressing the attack here.
Right now, Sal, he is simply bullying Duran, and the body work very effective. Alexis Arguello and Leonard apparently were right. Duran could not fight on the inside.
We're halfway through the 10th. Duran has slowed down somewhat. Chopping right hand by Duran, another one, and Hagler drills him with a right as Duran moved Hagler away from the ropes. Another low blow by Roberto Duran. As I count him, that's number 5.
Still no points being taken away, however, by Christodoulou.
We're in the final 60 seconds of the 10th round.
It has actually been a relatively clean fight, considering what many boxing observers were expecting. I think Duran is slowing down discernibly here in round 10.
And A right hand by Duran. Just when he was backing up, Hagler walked right into it. Less than 30 seconds to go in the 10th. Right hand high in the head of Hagler. Duran with another right hand. For all of the attack by Hagler, Duran is very much in this fight.
Well, he's still upright anyway, and that gives him a chance.
A hard left hand by Hagler. Duran came back with his own right. And it appears right now that Duran cannot hurt Hagler. Hagler with a big left hand at the bell, and Duran gives him a mean look. As if to say, you can't hurt me.
Okay, Mr.
How you feel, man?
Good, feel good.
That's good, man.
He's trying to pin him again.
See, he's trying to time that right. Throw some uppercuts inside. He's trying to time that. And you come in and throws that straight right hand at you, see? Keep switching right hand. You feel comfortable right hand. Don't just try it, dude.
As we look into Roberto Duran's corner, remember that piece of metal being applied to the left cheekbone of Marvin Hagler. That is to keep the swelling within reason. And I guess there must be concern about Hagler's left cheekbone. They began doing that in the second round.
And as we looked, we saw Hagler there toward the end of the round landing a couple of good combinations. For Roberto Duran, as this fight heads into its final stages, you wonder if the extra weight will have any impact on him in terms of fatigue.
This is the farthest that Hagler has been pushed in his 4-year reign of terror as the undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
He has gone 12 rounds. He did that against Mike Colbert some years ago before he was champion. But as a champion, you're right. This is as far as it's gone, so he's headed soon into no man's land.
Mustafa Hamsho lost every round, but he did go 11 before he was stopped by Hagler. Hamsho was so beaten up he required 55 stitches on his face.
Hagler now dances, wants Duran to come to him, an interesting tactic, and the fans don't like it. But why not? Hagler may feel he's ahead, and this is a 20-foot ring, and I believe that he wants Duran to lunge in so he can catch him with a counter shot.
There was lots of talk about the gloves. They're 10-ounce gloves. They're the Reyes gloves from Mexico. They have the seam down the side. There was lots of yakety-yak about perhaps that's the kind of glove that opens up cuts, but neither man has been marked. Neither man has been down.
Some people may question this strategy. They might say, isn't it better for Hagler to put the pressure on Duran? Get him tired, working these last few rounds. But Hagler obviously has it in his mind to box in this 11th round.
Halfway through the 11th, Roberto Duran almost stationary in the center of the ring, following Hagler around. Hagler's best rounds were the 6th and 7th.
Hagler's preoccupation with the judging would dictate that he might not fight this way in the later rounds, but he is doing it, risking what he feels might be bias on the part of the judges against him. Not many punches from Marvin Hagler in this round, or Duran for that matter.
Less than a minute to go in a quiet 11th round.
Is Hagler getting tired? Is he dancing because he doesn't quite have it in him for an all-out attack? No, we don't know, but we may get the answer in the next few rounds.
Referee once again lets them battle their way out of the clinch with less than 30 seconds to go in the 11th.
And here's where a rally by either fighter might steal this round.
Step back. Wait, step back. Okay, step back.
Certainly the quietest round of the fight.
After going toe-to-toe in the middle rounds, Hagler decided to circle outside of Duran's power in the 11th round, and that'll be a tough one to judge. It'd be interesting to look at the scorecards in the 11th round.
Duran, as we look at him, he pressed the attack in that 11th round, but threw very few punches. You have to wonder, Sal, what was the strategy on Hagler's part? Is he trying to set Duran up for an assault in these last 3 rounds?
Bust this bitch up.
12th round.
Bust this bitch up.
So,
he's getting tired.
that round was a little bit too much movement that round.
That's the crease in the eye. Right here.
What's that? All right, man.
Okay.
Put them together. This guy ain't got it. He just there. He goes right hand every now and then.
Supreme confidence in Marvin Hagler's corner as we focus in on the ring here at Caesar's Palace. Sal Marciano with Al Bernstein. We're poised and ready for round 12.
Hagler comes out right-handed and he comes out banging. They told him too much movement in the last round, and he takes care of it by going right to Duran.
As champion, Hagler hasn't been this far before. He has rejected all 7 of his challenges in less than 11 rounds.
And the last time Duran went this far was against Benitez about 2 years ago, and he did not look good in the final rounds against Wilfred. He was tired and catching a lot of counter punches.
Right hand by Duran on Hagler's head. But you know, Al, in my mind's eye, as I go back over the previous 11 rounds, Hagler has been difficult for Duran to hit. He's been blocking a lot of punches.
He has shown good defense in this fight. Better, I think, than Duran expected. Duran breathing very heavily, and I think Marvin now trying to go to the body to exploit that. Hagler took a breather in the last round, but not in round 12.
Hagler is back on the inside, takes a right hand from Duran, does some work with the uppercuts, and this is a whole different kind of style as contrasted against the previous round, the 11th. Left hook by Duran to the head of Hagler.
Now Duran is punching more on the inside, working the body a little bit. It may be too late, but he has certainly picked up the pace on the inside, what we expected early from him.
Duran with a right uppercut. There's swelling underneath the eye, the left eye of Hagler. They go toe-to-toe here in the 12th. Duran mocking Hagler. Dropped his hands to his side. Hagler's protecting his left eye.
And Marvin looks a little bit tired. This is starting to have some of the earmarks of the first Anna Fermo fight. Marvin tiring a little bit and perhaps letting Duran back in this fight. And of course that swelling under the left eye a factor now.
Duran with the lead right, he followed up with another right hand. And Hagler's got a problem with swelling underneath his left eye. This is reminiscent at this point of the Davey Moore fight, when Moore went inside of Duran and Duran connected with right hands. This is Duran's best round. Hagler with the left hand, an uppercut, points to his chin, as if to say, come on, hit me. Hagler with the left hand, Roberto with the right. And this is what it's all about. 2 champions going toe-to-toe.
We look at action from the
Let's take a look at some action from that wonderful round, the 12th, Duran's best, as he connected with lead right hands in his corner. His people are pointing towards what you see now. They're pointing at the left eye of Hagler.
I think for Hagler to stop that right hand, all he needs to do is turn around to the conventional stance. Duran has not been able to land a right when Hagler is a righty. I'm shocked to see him continue with the left-hand stance.
We're into the 13th, and Duran's name is being chanted from here to Panama City. Hagler still has vision. It's a swelling underneath his left eye. Duran looking to unload the right hand. Hagler punishes him with a couple of hard jabs.
And that doubling up with the jab is exactly what Goody Petronelli told him to do. They don't want him looking for one knockout punch.
Hagler with a crunching left hand to the head of Duran.
Roberto Duran has shown us he can take the punch of a full-fledged middleweight because there are not many more full-fledged than Hagler, and he's hit him with some good shots in this fight.
Whether Duran is behind in this fight, or ultimately if he's the loser, he continues to be a formidable fighter. As a lightweight, 7 years the champion. As a welterweight champion. As the junior middleweight champion. And here in his first middleweight fight, he has really rumbled with the best there's been since Carlos Monzon. Right hand by Duran. Hagler was moved by that shot.
You know, Roberto Duran is huffing and puffing. I really think he's fatigued, but Sal, he is fighting this fight now on intestinal fortitude. And of course, the long training that he put in for this fight.
We're halfway through the 13th round. A left hand by Hagler, a right by Duran. Yes, this is Hagler's toughest opponent, his toughest challenge in his 4-year reign as middleweight champion. And Duran has fooled the experts again.
In this round, Hagler, I think, has rediscovered the right jab. It's been very effective. Duran not slipping it as well as he did in some previous rounds.
In the final minute of round 13. Right hand by Duran. Hagler came with a right hook.
And that was pretty much a standoff. Both punches landed cleanly, and both did some damage. And both fighters have ignored the body. They are headhunting now.
Duran with 2 right hands. Suddenly, Hagler is on the take from that shot. Duran paws at him in disdain. Duran with a chopping right hand. Something's happened here in the last 2 rounds. Duran has shown that he is powerful and has been able to take the best from Marvin Hagler. And now it's showtime for Hands of Stone as he rattles Duran. Hagler with a right hand. The sneer is back, and at the bell, Duran with a right hand.
And in that round, while Hagler won the beginning of the round, the first half, there's no question Duran won the second half. And any fighter will tell you they'd rather have the second half of the round that's fresh in the minds of the judges. And there's a lot of intrigue now about the scoring of this fight as we continue.
Our translator in Duran's corner tells us that his handlers are telling him that the Hagler is done, keep it up. Well, Hagler may have some swelling underneath his left eye, but I don't think he's done.
No, but I think he did show signs of fatigue in that last round. Dramatic signs of fatigue.
You'll do it, Marvin.
No question about it that Roberto Duran is trying to bring that right hand, and he is sharpshooting for that left eye of Marvin Hagler as swelling underneath on the cheekbone. We're into the 14th. Hagler comes out winging.
And he came out right-handed and was effective. Again, I'm puzzled by the fact that he won't fight right-handed more often. Look at him go to the body of Duran. Good uppercuts by Hagler.
In the first 20 seconds of this round, Hagler has been a tremendous force here. Duran backing up, looking to get some punching room. Right hand by Hagler. Duran looking at awesome force here in the 14th round, but he still sneers at Hagler. The fight of the year? Yes, I think so.
It certainly has been everything it was billed to be. And I said the onus was on Duran at the beginning to make this fight. He has shown us. He has come back from an early deficit and fought well toward the end of this fight. But I think Hagler's having a very good round 14 here. But will Duran come on in the second half of the round as he did in 13?
Hagler with a right hand that caught Duran. Duran still sneering. He's joking with Hagler, and we're deep into this fight. We're in the 14th. And we're halfway through the round.
And this is what Marvin Hagler did not want, a relatively close fight going into the final rounds. He was very, very concerned about this. Now Duran is giving some lateral movement to Hagler, and he's taunting him.
Duran stuck his mouthpiece out at Hagler, taunting him, trying to intimidate him.
He may be sticking his mouthpiece out, but Hagler, I think, has done most of the scoring here in round 14.
In the final minute of the next to last round.
Hagler digging to the body again. Again, he works well inside.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the 14th, a round in which Hagler's done a lot of punching. He's come back strongly. I see blood. I think that the Hagler's got a cut. Yes, it's around his left eye. Hagler is cut.
But here in round 14, despite the sneering, it's been Hagler on the inside dominating the action, as you see him doing right there.
Hagler with a strong right hook to the head. Hagler knows he's cut. He's had an exceptional round, but they're going to have to work on that eye during the 1-minute break before the final round. Hagler is cut in his left eyebrow.
Come on, quick, come on. That's a big round fight, big round fight, big round fight. Big round fight. Okay, that's the last round coming up just like that. In every goddamn round. In every round. In every round.
No dejes que te tire el solo, ¿oíste?
Ya lo tienes ya, no te vayas para atrás, que ya lo tienes ya. Mira cómo está ese negro cortado.
Cámbiate de mano ahora.
Ok.
Sí.
Tú sabes más que 10 veces. Fíjate cómo le cortaste.
Our interpreter tells us that in the Duran corner, they're of course telling him to go for the eye because Hagler is cut. It's a small cut on the left cheekbone. It's not a major cut on the left eyebrow, excuse me. And they continue to apply the end swell on the left cheekbone. Al, as we approach the final round, the way you have it scored, let's hear it.
Well, I don't have the numbers added up, but I'll tell you what, I feel that Hagler is ahead in this fight. I think that he is leading, and I think that it is up to Duran to have a big 15th round. He may, in my opinion, he may need a knockout to win, but it's up to the judges.
Duran points towards his chest. He says, come to me, I want you. And I'm sure the marvelous one will accommodate him.
And the strange thing about this fight is, on the outside, Duran has done relatively well. On the inside, I think it's been Hagler who has been dominant. Some people thought it was the other way around. Look at Hagler ripping shots from the inside. He's so effective. They're working the body and the head.
Hagler goes right to it here in the final round. He's staying close to Duran.
And I think that's the best place for him to be. Take away the power of Duran and work him on the inside.
Big left hand by Hagler on the chin of Duran, but Duran is okay, so okay, he sneered again at Hagler. Hagler appears he doesn't want to take any chances. He continues to punch a lot.
And this fight has shown us Hagler, the hard worker in boxing, and Duran, he's the showman. So far, the hard worker in this round is getting the job done.
The big news is that Duran was able to score heavily with the right hand tonight against Hagler. So much so that he caused a swelling on the left cheekbone.
Many people did not think he could get those right hands home. He's gotten enough home, as you said, to cause the swelling, but is it enough to win? Here on the inside, Hagler still working very, very effectively.
We just passed the halfway mark of the final round.
Hagler is throwing 5 and 6 punches to every one in this round for Duran.
And that cut has not reopened on the left eyebrow of Hagler. Duran now sensing that we only have a few ticks left on the clock trying to get close enough, trying to get some punching room, but it's all Hagler down the stretch. Hagler with a big right hook and a left cross. Hagler takes a right hand from Duran. Hagler not taking any chances here, and he wallops Duran with the left hand. Duran with his back to the rope takes a right hook. Hagler finishing with a drum roll here.
If he feels there's a doubt about this decision, he certainly must be cementing it here in this 15th round. Ripping body and head shots to the head of Roberto Duran.
20-odd seconds to go in the fight. Left hand by Hagler, and Roberto Duran drilled Hagler with his own right. 15 seconds to go. Two warriors, two champions, going the full 15 rounds. Hands of Stone turned out to be a formidable opponent, and he rocks Hagler with the right hand, Hagler with the left, as we head for the belt.
Well, what do you think? You look at Marvin Hagler, he was taking 15 tough rounds by Roberto Duran. To recap, early in the fight, it was Duran there. You see him on the receiving end during most of the exchanges. He seems to think he won, but that man, Marvin Hagler, certainly had the better of the early rounds, while Roberto Duran came on at the end. Duran still cheerleading to this crowd. Toward the end of the fight, you saw Roberto Duran mugging, taunting Hagler, but for Marvin Hagler, the last two rounds, 14 and 15, were a clinic to boxing fans. You look at Marvin, he seems happy, seems to think he will retain his undisputed title. Some action from the 15th round. On the inside, this was where Hagler did such effective work. Many people thought he would simply hold and wait for the referee to break, wanting to get Duran at long range. It didn't work that way. More action from the 15th round. Hagler worked the uppercuts and the body shots so effectively in that 15th round. Just part of the good action in that 15th round, as Duran, I thought, dominated the round with that excellent inside work. Shows us his hand speed with some good combinations. And while Roberto Duran sneered, he simply could not do damage to Marvin Hagler. This decision, of course, a mystery, and Chuck Hull trying to get ready in what is a chaotic ring. And they are still tabulating the scorecards. This will be judged on a 10-point must system. The winner of the round gets 10, the loser 9 or less. That man looks confident that he is still the undisputed middleweight champion, but remember, against Vito Antuofermo several years ago, he lost a decision like this. Chuck Hull is ready in the center of the ring, I believe. Let's go up to Sal Marciano. He is in the ring now.
Okay, Big Al. Of course, the ring is crowded. Roberto Duran and Hagler still trying to walk it off. They're, of course, they have a lot of body heat. There's no question about that. The early round, the big lead by Marvin Hagler. He was especially effective in the 6th and 7th. The 12th round was titanic as far as Roberto Duran was concerned. Chuck Hull has the decision. Let's go to Chuck in the center of the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the judges. Judge Guy Jotra's scores 144-142. Judge Yasaka Yoshida scores 146-145. Judge Obi Oberson scores 144-143 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Congratulations to Marvin Hagler, who wins by unanimous decision, but it was close by point margins of 2, 1, and 1. You have a problem with your left eye. Tell me how that developed.
Well, that's probably from my old stitch. I slipped and fell in the bathroom at my home.
When was this?
That was before, about two fights before. That's just an old cut there. I felt very good. I just couldn't get off with the speed the way I wanted. I would have knocked this guy out, but I needed to work. I was in good shape, so I figured as long as I keep the jab, I couldn't get it going the way I really wanted to, because he's a little quicker, but next time I fight Duran, I'll knock him out. He's made for me, you know, but then afterwards, you don't have to knock him out. My trainer said, just beat him. You beating him, just beat him. The last 2 rounds, I came back decisively.
The question does linger, though. Why didn't you knock him out?
Well, you know, like I said, even though the man is 3-time world champion, you got to give me a little credit there, too.
Nobody's ever knocked.
You know, nobody's ever knocked Duran out, so you really don't go for it. But next time, I had him going there, I think, in the last round. But a little bit more. I know what I have to do next time.
In terms of strength, how did you feel against him?
Oh, I felt very strong. You know, real loose. You know, he wasn't getting, he just beat me to the punch a couple of times. But he wouldn't come at me the way how we planned, so I had to change up. That's what a mark of a good fighter, that you can still change up in the inside. A lot of fighters can't, and they're thrown off stride.
You were very effective as a righty against him.
Yeah, I was very effective, so that's why I went that way. He kept ducking under the right jab, so he ducked into my left hook, my right hand, and left uppercut half hook. So that's what was effective for him, so I kept using it.
He caught you a lot with right hands. Did he ever rock you?
No, I never was hurt in the fight. The last round, I think the puff in the eye just started to, you know, puff up. I wanted to get to him before it closed or anything, but you know, he couldn't knock me out or anything. You know, I told him he gonna hit me with that ring pole. Really,
Marvin,
I just want to thank everybody who has helped me to make it all the way to this day. You know, the Peter Fullops, the Rip Valentes, even the Spectrum guys, Russell Peltz, and I'd like to thank my mother and my kids and my wife for all the support. And these 2 guys, a happy birthday present for Goody and Pat Petronelli.
I know there was concern in your corner about that nick on your left eye, about the swelling. You came out on the 15, and you were awesome, as if to say, I'm not going to take any chances. You must have outpunched him 4 to 5 to 1.
I had to come out like that to make it decisive. I don't like being here, you know. I don't want to leave it into the judges' hands, and so even though I had to put everything together, I just had to keep them tied and keep pumping them.
Okay, Marvin, there's lots of fans out there. Look at these point totals, and they see that you won by 2 points, by 1 point, and by 1 point. Yeah, will you give Duran another shot?
Sure. Well, you know, if the money's right and everything, sure. You know, he draw the big attraction. Next time I put him out, though, he won't go 15.
Congratulations on your 8th defense. You are a standard of excellence at 160 pounds.
Don't nobody say I can't go 15 anymore. All right.
All right.
Great shakes. Oh, yeah.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Congratulations to the Petronellis as well. And so, marvelous Marvin Hagler tonight could not overwhelm Roberto Duran when the full 15, did not win by that much, but the point of the matter is it was his 8th successful defense, and he has stopped the challenge of Roberto Duran. We do not want to go away without talking to Hands of Stone. We want to get his view of it, and he is somewhere on the other side of the ring. They're bringing him over to us right now. Of course, we'll have an interpreter as well. I might point out that after the reading of the cards, Roberto Duran, I can't repeat what he said, but he did mock Hagler, called him some names, and has very little regard for him as a champion.
Well, I'm astonished at that, Sal. I think that certainly Duran has to give Hagler credit. Hagler apparently pulled his victory out with a tremendously gutsy effort in the 14th and 15th rounds.
He had to finish well, and he did say he didn't want to take any chances. He boasted that he could knock him out, but in fact he did not. Here comes Roberto Duran, who was booing Marvin Hagler because obviously he feels that it wasn't that much of a problem, although he did come out on the short end of the score. I want to ask Roberto, in terms of strength, how did he feel against Hagler?
En términos de fuerza, ¿cómo te sentiste contra Hagler?
Yo me debilité un poco en el quinto asalto cuando me rompí la mano derecha que me la lastimé.
I did get weak in the 5th round because I did hurt my right hand.
When was this? In the fight?
In the 5th round.
Sí, pero yo no me ponía a hacer fuerza con él. Yo lo que hacía es con los golpes de él porque él tenía los remos un poco más largos que yo.
I wasn't trying to overpower him because he does have a longer reach than I do.
Me confundió un poco nada más por ser zurdo, pero no mucho.
I was a little confused because he's southpaw.
Pero no me pudo hacer nada.
But he didn't do anything to me.
Never hurt him.
Nunca me puso mal, dile.
I was never hurt in the fight.
So after going 15 rounds with Hagler, what's his opinion of him?
Tu opinión después de 15 rounds contra Marvin Hagler.
Yo soy mejor que él.
Ay, eres el mejor. I'm better than you.
Considering that he lost by only 2 points on one card, by 1 point on another, and by 1 point on the other, obviously it was close. Does he feel that he deserves a rematch?
Dice que en los 3 jueces perdiste por 1 punto en cada juez, que si tú piensas que mereces la revancha.
Yo no sé, la verdad que...
Si le pagan otra vez, yes. Get money, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
But you didn't feel that as a middleweight that you were overwhelmed. You were in this fight every minute.
Tú, como peso medio, estuviste en esta pelea hasta el final.
Gracias, thank you. Thank you.
Does he feel that maybe he lost in the last round?
Que tal vez perdiste la pelea en el último round.
No puede ser que me cansé un poco, ya de los últimos 3 asaltos me cansé un poco. Por falta un poquito más de condiciones me faltó nada más, eso fue todo.
I needed a little bit of extra conditioning because I did get tired in the last 3 rounds.
Las narices se me taparon.
My nose got stuffed and I got tired a little bit in the last 3 rounds.
I know we're only moments after the fight, but what does he want to do next? Does he want to continue on as a junior middleweight or still go after Hagler?
Los planes de seguir como peso medio liviano o otra vez mediano.
Yo voy a descansar un rato y voy a hablar con mi apoderado después.
I'm going to rest, I'm going to talk to my manager, Luis Espada.
A valiant challenge by Roberto Duran, and in a way, congratulations too.